James is eating a toasted bagel with bell pepper, tomatoes, and a rice bowl thing with beans and vegetables and stuff, and a $27 fillet of halibut. And I'm having some soup that I made, and I'm going to talk about Pretty Baby.
Is that the original one or remake?
It is.
I see it's got Brooke Shields in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know it was popular or whatever. I guess I should have known because it had all those.
I don't know if it was popular, but it was kind of infamous.
It would have been controversial, one would imagine, given the subject matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, boy, my back is not. I was talking to a neighbor this morning, and my back has been bad, as you know, if you've been watching. And I shouldn't have been standing for so long.
Standing's very hard for the back for some reason or another.
Wanted to try to, I guess,
find out about,
console her or whatever, and just talk. She's a nice person to talk to.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was bothered because there were people partying. First, it was just one person who'd set up a nest beside her, beside where she lives, and then it was a big party, and so.
No, this was over several days, or was it?
No, I think it was just. Well, I don't.
Okay.
Anyway, it was the first night. It was just one person.
So this was on the long weekend, you think?
I don't know. You can ask her about
it.
But anyway, so the police came out and shut the party down. And there were drug charges and stuff like that, right? So anyway, so then I think the next day she found a bunch of poop. So much poop.
Oh, revenge pooping. You know, when dogs do it, it's one thing, but when people do it...
Yeah. So, poor her. Here she is, a senior citizen who... She cares for her garden. She always tries to keep things nice. She works so hard. You see her, she's always out there working away.
Taking care of that yard.
And she had to clean up somebody's poop.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. So I'm not saying every homeless person is that way, but
I'm not saying any homeless people are like that, because I talked about the drug problem. I don't know why they set up a nest there. They may not be homeless at all. They might have just thought, oh, this is a great place to set up a... But anyway, I don't know. But it looks like, given they stayed there, one person stayed one night, presumably that person was involved with the other people coming the next or whatever. But anyway, so we talked about all sorts of things, you know, the washrooms, the public washrooms stuff. And you need to have public washrooms, but they can't be private. What can you do, right? Even in the public library, I've talked about how the security guards, I'll be in the washroom and a man will come in, is everything okay? Yeah.
Wow.
There's no privacy now, you know, it's, and it has to be that way because people have, now there's a sign in the washroom even that says, if this washroom is, if you're misusing this washroom for like unintended purposes, you know, you're going to be asked to leave, right? So I guess it wasn't even enough having security guards coming through. Now they have to have a sign in there. And so my neighbor was talking about how they had to take out the washroom because there were the public washroom that they'd set up because people were doing it was like a big drug party house or whatever, and other things were happening there that most people wouldn't want to happen. It's not intended for, you know, people living in there or whatever, or doing whatever in there. It's a washroom for everybody the public to use. So I told her about how this was years ago, like 20 years ago or something, more than that. I'd seen a show that showed, I think it was washrooms in Holland. They had public washrooms, but what they had is you could see the person's head, and the only part you couldn't see was where they were sitting. So you would walk by and you'd see the person there, and or whatever. And so at the time I thought, oh wow, that's terrible to have no privacy. And now I realize, well, what do you do, right? You anyway, so that's that. That's, I don't know. I don't know what you can do about all that. So we were talking about all sorts of problems that were like, what do you do with this? You know, you're trying to find solutions, and that's the thing, is we have to talk about these things so that we can come up with solutions together. That's, in democracy, you have to have a voice. You have to be able to talk. And even the other day I was thinking I should shut down these deck dinners, because when I started them, I just wanted it to be like that. I wanted it to be an open conversation, the kind of things you talk about over dinner, right? And I wanted to encourage people to have dinner with each other and talk about things over dinner, because that's it's been a problem for a long time. I remember my grandma took everyone out for dinner years ago when she was alive. That was my not my French side of the family, the other side of the family. So my grandma took everyone to I don't know what it was. It was some sort of a bonanza sort of thing, but it had a different name. I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, that sort of thing, because she loved taking people out to that sort of stuff. Anyway, so the whole family, big, must have cost her a fortune. How she decided to do it, but she loved it. So, because she used to love cooking for everyone. So she'd cook for, I don't know, 20 people, whatever, at a time, and she was a wonderful cook. But so I guess that's what it is. She just liked eating with family, and it's a wonderful thing. You know, it's important for family to eat together. So, anyway, I remember back then, this was a very long time ago, because she was still alive, so I'm gonna guess 30 years ago or some more. Anyway, and my younger cousin was texting constantly, texting. I didn't socialize with her. Nobody did. She was too busy texting, and but I guess that's good that she showed up.
Sort of.
But anyway, it's good to talk. It's good for families to talk together and whatever. And so a few days ago anyway, I was thinking about this, how some of my videos have been blocked, and the YouTube might decide to just block me completely and for saying something they don't like, and I'm like, you know, I wanted this to be an open conversation, the kind of things people talk about. And you know what? People talk about the things that I was talking about. And they talk about it a lot, commonly outside.
It was topical.
It's very topical. And, but, so I was thinking, well, I should stop doing these things, because it's the intended use, intended purpose of this dinner, it changed, right? It wasn't what I intended it to be. And so, I don't know. I'll have to think about things, and because there are a lot of important topics to talk about. And
really too many, really.
And I have to find a way to talk about them, and I guess I have to look for a different way to do it, because this doesn't seem to be. Anyway, so this is an important topic. I can see why this would have been controversial. It's controversial now, I think, to watch this thing. So anyway, I've never seen Susan Sarandon look as beautiful as she looked in this movie. Wow. And I happen to think she's extremely beautiful, even now. Most people just, when women get older, they don't notice that they're beautiful anymore, but she's still beautiful. And I notice. And anyway, so this story is not actually about Susan Sarandon. She is a main character, but she's not the main character, and she's not the focus of the story, although it's hard not to focus on her, let me tell you. But it's actually the character played by Brooke Shields. Her name's Violet in this. And there's some problems with the acting. Like, I at first I was thinking, gosh, the acting's terrible. And then I thought, well, maybe it's not so terrible. There's a few, like the madam of the house. She's terrible. But anyway, and child actors, what can you expect of them, you know? Brooke Shields actually did a pretty good job considering. So, anyway, this story is about Violet and how she is a young girl. You see her, she's getting to be about 12 years old in this story. And so I guess she probably was 11 at the beginning. But she doesn't know her age. And so we really don't either. But somebody does say at some point that she's 12, and we assume, okay, well, maybe they know, but they might not have known, right? So anyway, she's lives in this whorehouse. She's been raised there because her mother is a prostitute in the house. So she sees all sorts of things, and like everything. And so she's been raised with that, and she doesn't really think anything of it. But then when she's about 12, she's feeling like it's kind of a reversal-ish of there were other stories that honestly that were better at the time. Like this would have been put out in 1978, and I don't know exactly when Lolita was put out, but it would have been.
No, the original might have been put out in the early 60s.
Okay, so this doesn't make it as, it's not nearly as good as Lolita. So it's sort of along the same lines, though. You can see it'd be controversial in the same way. So this young girl.
It was controversial back then.
And should be, right? This is, so there's a man who comes to the house to do photography of the women, and he does nice photography. He's very professional about it. And the young girl, she's like, well, why don't you ever sleep with any of them? You come every day, you don't sleep with them. And one of the people in the house thinks, well, he's in love with this girl. And really, she's in love with him. So she's constantly saying things to him like, you like my mother more than me. You think, she's jealous that her mother's very beautiful.
Is that Sarandon?
And her mother gets a lot of attention. And so at 12 years old, we think she's 12, she decides she wants to be one of the women of the house. So there's a sort of auction. The madam of the house auctions her off one night, and she's happy to be one of the women of the house. So and then her mother ends up, she's always telling people that the young girl is her sister, right? She doesn't want to say that but she has a baby, and baby boy, and so anyway, and a man ends up marrying the mother, and the mom takes the baby and leaves the girl behind. The girl doesn't want to come anyway. She wants to stay in the house, and so the husband doesn't know that the girl is the daughter for a long time. Anyway, so it goes from there, and the girl, the 12-year-old, ends up getting married to the photographer at 12 years old. She's married to him, and he treats her well. 12 years old. Anyway, it's controversial. Sorry, you see. It says 12-year-old Brooke Shields, so I guess she was 12. Brooke Shields was 12. But you don't know if Violet was. Anyway, it says on the back 12-year-old Brooke Shields, though. You see 12-year-old Brooke Shields completely naked. And,
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Well,
but honestly, I don't know if that's a problem. I think everyone should be naked all the time if they want to be. And we should live in a world that's safe so that people can do that. But I guess maybe in public settings, you have a no shoes, no shirt, no service. Maybe it should just be a little bit more clothing. I mean, a lot of people don't want to be sitting down on a seat where somebody's naked bottom has been, or whatever. I don't know. But it might put people off their food in a restaurant. I'm not sure. But certainly in somebody's own yard, they should be able to wander around naked if they want to. But anyway, so I'm not really going to talk about the issues about a 12-year-old getting married or anything, and the husband, the photographer, he's kind of right that at the, eventually the mother comes back and she's like, I had a hard time finding you, because and she's like, you're coming with us now. I told you I'd come back for you, and I'm back for you, and you're coming with us. And the photographer's like, you abandoned her, and he doesn't want her to go. He's married her, right? But I guess I kind of gave the story away a bit. But honestly, wow. I don't really have more to say about it. It's controversial.
Who directed it?
Okay.
Does it say?
Louis Malle.
Oh, yeah.
No?
That's what I thought. M-A-L-L-E. I don't know. I kind of get the feeling he did it for money.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's controversial, this stuff, but it's not nearly as well done as Lolita. Lolita is worth watching. This, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. See, Lolita was based on a novel written by a guy who was considered one of the greatest novelists, probably in any language, not just English. Whereas I don't know who wrote the original here. And apparently the guy Nabokov actually there was a case like it. It's kind of like based on a real case, Lolita.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get the feeling he wasn't doing it for money. I don't think Kubrick was doing it for money when he directed the show. I'm a little suspicious. Especially when they cast Brooke Shields, who's, you can see she's kind of got a little bit like Priscilla Presley, got a stronger chin than most girls that age would have. So she looks a little bit older. But, kind of maybe a little bit prurient. I don't know.
Well, anyway, you can talk about the Kremlin thing. You're making some good work on that $27 cut of fish.
Well, that's $27. I better get my money's worth out of it.
We had it given to us.
I kind of been
We're very thankful.
grimacing about it, but it's like healthy fish. Most other meat sizes are it's that way.
Mine's a pizza soup again. Because we have pizza sauce given to us. Whatever topping you want.
Gremlin Conspiracy. Again, this is a preview. Hey, Howard Hunt. I read a few pages of it yesterday. Yeah, maybe 1 page, 2 pages. Didn't even mark it down. So it was pretty boring. That's kind of what I expected. Hey, Howard Hunt. I got through about 54 pages of it. It might have been the early 90s, so about 30 years ago. So I barely got into it. It looks as though Moths. What stage would that be? Anyway, moth kind of worms or whatever.
Bookworm, yeah.
Digested more of it than I did. That's not a bullet hole. So we'll talk maybe a little bit about contract on America. I wish I could say that pun was original with me, but I came up with it after Newt Gingrich was declaring his contract with America. I said, it's contract on America. That's before I knew about this book. This book came before Gingrich, I think, did his contract on America. And
Maybe.
Who's that? Just a little one?
You see her?
I see you now. Yeah, I see you. I think.
It's like she said, "See me now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was posing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something even cuter than that this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was someone trying out the new road. I thought it was a cat at first going across the road. It was going across the newly painted line. It was a little rabbit. Just.
Oh, sweet.
It was happy to see that it cleared out with the rush hour traffic. Wiped it out. People go too fast. But yeah, I started off the other day, not yesterday, but the day before, reading a little bit. There's immense amount of material on Ruby. Jack Ruby, the guy killed Lee Harvey Oswald, the guy who didn't kill John F. Kennedy. He might have killed J.D. Tippit, because I think J.D. Tippit was set out to kill Lee Harvey Oswald. So when he didn't, J.D. Tippit was the only police officer, according to Dallas police records, apparently, in the western part of Dallas. And about 1 o'clock, Lee Harvey Oswald's just turned up at his rooming house, as mentioned, Southern. And J.D. Tippit turns up. He goes, tit, tit. It's been arranged for him to meet Harvey Oswald there. And Lee Harvey Oswald doesn't want to come out. Why doesn't he want to come out? Why indeed? Apparently he did come out once the police car left, once J.D. Tippit left. Presumably it was J.D. Tippit, a woman who kept the rooming house that Lee Harvey Oswald roomed down during the weeks. It might have been at that point in time, all the time. I might have come back on weekends to, where was it? Irving, Texas, I think, or something like that. Someplace in between Fort Worth and Dallas. But, yeah. He came out after the car left. J.D. Tippit was disturbed. And they figure that Oswald picked up his gun, or his revolver. And within about 15 minutes, I think it's about a mile down the road maybe, J.D. Tippit from the rooming house, J.D. Tippit ends up dead. Shot several times. One of the witnesses said, I believe, 2 people were shooting at him. But the Warren Commission, the police, figured it was, or at least they said they figured it was Harvey Oswald. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Lee Harvey Oswald. It's conjectured that Lee Harvey Oswald was supposed to have been off when he was arrested. Well, that was after, in the movie theater south of his rooming place. No, I think he was supposed to have been off by J.D. Tippit. He was supposed to be arrested, in quotation marks, by J.D. Tippit, but attempted to be arrested, and then he was supposed to have been resisting arrest, and he was supposed to have been wiped out, so there'd be no trial. That's why Jack Ruby killed Lee Harvey Oswald, so there'd be no trial. People, when there's a trial, they have to swear on oath, and if they're they have to swear to tell the truth, and if they don't, then it can be prosecuted for not telling the truth, even though they're not on trial. They can end up being on trial if they lie. So stuff comes out in trials the way they don't come out in Warren commissions and similar things. So Lee Harvey Oswald would have understood that the game was, something was fishy. He was working at the depository. He wasn't even watching the parade. He was inside in it was noon hour. The assassination occurred 12:30. And guess what? They say, oh, he was way up on the 5th floor. No, he wasn't. Where do people go when they're at work and it's noontime? They go to a place where they can eat.
Eat lunch.
Of course. Yeah. And he was on, I believe, the 2nd floor, and it was in the kind of the place where people ate. Yeah. I don't think anyone's actually pointed that out. That he was where you'd expect a worker to at noontime. I don't think he was terribly interested in the parade. He would have been interested in what was going to happen afterward, because there wasn't much security at the parade. They figured that there was going to be an attempt to kill JFK, and it would have been disinformation, and it might well have come from Lee Harvey Oswald. Why would I figure that? I'll get to that in a second. So apparently, it's, I think more than one source I've run across has pointed out that a place where Kennedy was going to give a speech after the parade, it was called the Trade Mart in Dallas, was just crawling with security. There had been a plan to kill Kennedy in Chicago. I think at the beginning of November, November the 8th, 1963. That didn't pan out for the Mafia and assorted other ne'er-do-wells. And then there was supposed to have been one in November the 18th. That didn't work out terribly well for these ne'er-do-wells. And so when the FBI got reports that there was going to be an assassination, and their source or sources indicated it was going to attempt an assassination. It wasn't going to be the parade, but it was going to be at the Trade Mart. They didn't bother so much with the parade. Now, who would have the source been? Lee Harvey Oswald got into a little altercation. How much time? 5 minutes?
30 seconds, something like that.
Okay, we'll talk
40?
about the altercation. He got into an altercation. He was doing a demonstration. He was lit upon by 3 Cubans. And guess who got arrested? Lee Harvey Oswald. This is where he signed his death warrant. His one phone call wasn't to a lawyer, it was to the FBI. You tell me who was employing him. You figure it out.